Hello, everyone. Welcome to the best and worst of Walt Disney World. I am your host, Rhino Clavin. And in this week's episode, we're going to be continuing our hit or miss series on the Disney resorts. And in this week, we're going to be talking about the moderate resorts at Walt Disney World and whether we personally feel like they are a hit or a miss. And to have this conversation with me, I've got Corey Fiascanaro.
Hey, guys.
And Denny Sunderly.
Hi there.
And Mr. Craig Williams.
Oh, hoy, hoy.
I can't remember if I said this was brought to you by DisBoards.com and Dreams Unlimited Travel, so I am repeating it again because they are great. Both of those are great resources in helping you book and helping you plan your Disney vacation. So I'm saying it again, and I'll say it again before the show's over. So
it's the best way we can pat ourselves on the shoulder.
Yes,
because
yes.
we are those.
We are.
Yes.
Two pats, one for
There.
each side. There you go. We did an episode about the value resorts, and I thought it would be this was actually Craig's idea, but we would hop into the moderate resorts. I feel like this is where I cap out price level wise personally. It's where I planning a Disney vacation on my own, not living here and being an annual pass holder. I probably wouldn't go past this point for me personally. That's just the life I lead frugally. So we have at Walt Disney World in the moderate resort level, we have Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort, Disney's Coronado Springs Resort, Disney's Port Orleans Resort, the French Quarter, and then we also have Riverside in that same resort, and then the cabins at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort. So we're going to dive right in. We're going to start with the one on the top here, Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort. Denny.
Okay, so for me, it is both a hit and a miss. So, and I'll explain. I loved getting to stay here. I love the theming of the resort, the whole 9 yards.
Skyliner Resort. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Skyliner Resort. That's a really big deal. But depending on what building you're in, you could be a fur piece from the food court.
Yeah.
And so when my husband and I stayed there, I've got to, at the time, I had to have my coffee first thing. And so I had to get totally, ready for the day and schlep myself across. I mean, it was a walk. It was maybe a
Spread
7.
out.
Yeah, it's a 7 to 10 minute walk. It's a gorgeous walk because it's beautifully landscaped and themed. But if that's not your bag, then I would just say, hey, that's going to be a mess for you. But other than that, I mean, I do love their retheming that they've gone through. I love their new food court. I do, but it's good to know going into it that depending on where you are, you might have to walk.
What do you think, Fiasco? Is it your bag, baby?
Super hit. Super hit. So first of all, this is the first resort I've ever stayed at. This is my first vacation ever when I was 8 years old at Disney. But that really isn't here or there for why I think this place is so great. As far as all the moderate resorts are concerned, I think it's the best dining, the absolute best. Sebastian's Bistro is just so good. I know that restaurant was kind of a miss earlier, but since they've redone it, this restaurant is killer. And I think it's my favorite out of all the moderate resort dining. There's some really, really nice fake beaches, too. You don't have to just go to Poly to get a nice fake beach to chill at. Caribbean Beach has some great fake beaches. Really nice to walk around, just chill at. As far as all the moderates go, a resort that I'll go out of my way just to hang out at, whether I'm staying there or not, Caribbean Beach is probably the only one that fits that in the moderate. So, super big hit.
What do you think, Craig?
Well, I'm going to be closer to Denny's answer on it, and a hit and a miss. I will say the hit for me is that it's recently renovated, obviously. And last year was when it kind of re-debuted, and they definitely upped the experience in terms of dining and just the aesthetic overall, and now having the Skyliner attached to it. There's lots of reasons to consider it a hit, but for me overall the resort still ends up as a miss just because of my distaste for the Caribbean. I'm not trying to just say I hate an entire thing, but I really it is not my vibe at all. The same way as that old Key West vibe, leaves such a bad taste in my mouth. It reminds me of the tackiest, cheapest places in Florida that are outside the Disney bubble, way outside the Disney bubble. And I I can't enjoy myself while I'm there because I constantly I want to be somewhere else that is take me to Wilderness Lodge so I can feel like I'm in the Pacific Northwest when I can just be the mountain man that I want to be. So it's I think there are great benefits to staying there, and if that aesthetic is then you, which I know who doesn't love the beach. I'm in that minority, but I think it's definitely a mass hit for most people. It's just for me, I can't get over the entire theme of the resort. So I would stay there if I had to, but I would really put up a fight.
I think I agree with you. I'm not a beach. The theming of I'm from Massachusetts, and gosh, I don't know what the obsession is with boating and sailing and all this stuff. I mean, I get it, but it's kind of one of those where I'm like, it's right there outside. Why does it have to be the theme on the inside too? Like, I've also in Massachusetts. When I think of a beach, I think about being like I'm still in jeans and sneakers, and it's not necessarily a hot place for me. It's just, it's water.
I think of bathrooms too, because I don't know if it was just a Western Pennsylvania and Ohio thing, but people always try it. The people that I was around in my life, they would theme their bathrooms to the beach. So they would put
there is a bathroom in this very house that is themed to a beach just outside this door.
And I forgot about that. And that continues that idea. What is the fascination with bathrooms and beaches?
People like to pee in the ocean.
So I think what it is when you go to Marshall's, TJ Maxx.
Marshalls and Home Goods are always, you're like, okay, well, this 70% of the store is all beach themed stuff.
Yeah.
You're like, if you need a good seashell, you know where to go, But for me, I am definitely on that teeter side too. I do have fond memories because this was the first Disney resort period I had ever stayed at. And when I came for grad night in 2003, and I have good memories associated with it then, but it's where. Other than that, though, there was nothing to bring me back in there. And then when they remodeled, Sebastian's is actually right now my favorite restaurant on Disney property, too. I think my favorite sit-down restaurant. I just have had very good experiences. I think you're getting great value for the money you pay for the meal for sure there. And everyone's been excellent there. I do agree it is incredibly sprawling. It was a challenge to get to Sebastian's the first time because it's confusing where you park and how you get there and stuff. And I am on that side of a thing where I get where some people, the epitome of vacation is like the beach and stuff like that, but it's also that's not really what I want. But I don't think I'd be as far as Craig, where I'm like, get me out of here. I think they've made some strides. So I think I'm just kind of in the middle there. But before we continue on to the next one, I forgot to mention at the top of the show, we do have a great tool that you can use on the DIS on wdwinfo.com, where you can go in and provide your personal feedback to this resort review, and it aggregates all these scores and pumps them out and gives you basically what everyone's kind of general percentage is. It's the Rotten Tomatoes of Disney resort reviews, if you will.
Nicely done.
Yes, only I think there's less trolling happening there. So we are going to move over to Disney's Coronado Springs Resort. Now, for me, this one used to be a miss. I had stayed here once, I think, before, and I remember the same issue with Caribbean Beach. I was really far away from everything, and I felt like the main restaurant there. Oh my gosh, I should have looked up the amenity names. That it was really overpriced for what you were getting.
The
Maya
table
Grill?
service,
the table service,
Okay.
the Mayan Grill,
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
Maya.
Maya Grill, excuse me. But I thought aesthetically, it was nice, it was pretty, but it was very clearly like a convention hotel.
Yeah.
So it wasn't somewhere where I'm like, oh, go here. This new tower, though, the Gran Destino Tower, I find that I am drawn on my personal time to go there. I want to go to the Barcelona lounge that's downstairs and have do the gin and tonic. It's one of the few places on Disney property where I feel like I am getting the value of my alcohol a lot, and then you can go up to the lounge and have a drink up there if you want to watch the fireworks right outside at Hollywood Studios, or just enjoy the views, and I think that tower really elevates it and makes it feel more connected to me, and then it also adds some extra dining options in there. So I feel like the tower makes it the hit, but other than that, when it comes to dining, I actually think it is a miss. I don't love the dining in there, but so I am also teetering on this, but I find that I'm drawn there a lot, so I'd lean toward hit for me. What do you think, Craig?
It is surprisingly, for me, it is kind of similar to Caribbean Beach in that it's a hit and a miss for me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this just real quickly here. It's for me as a young adult without kids, it is a complete hit. Especially with Grand Destino Tower being added in. I also, my favorite meal on property right now is at Three Bridges Bar and Grill. It's their signature burger they have there. I don't know how many times I've had it now, but it is perfect. And yeah, I think the other, I haven't been to Maya Grill in a long time, but I feel like the other restaurants have had to elevate themselves because of the tower.
I forgot about Three Bridges too.
Even the last time I ate at Rick's, it was surprisingly good, and which just used to be a random bar in the lobby. But so as of me being my age, I love it, and I do enjoy the theming. I love Three Caballeros touches all around, so that was one of my favorite movies growing up. Still is for Disney. But looking at it from a family perspective, this resort for families is a complete miss, and I feel like that's the one caveat with any Disney resort. At the end of the day, it should still be a family-friendly hotel, but this is the one I will say that I don't believe. Because right away you have to basically cut yourself out of Grand Destino Tower because there's no baths in any. It's only showers in the tower. So if you have young kids,
showers in the tower.
I don't know. I didn't shower until I was starting to get 30. Yeah, until yesterday. So I know for many families with younger kids, that completely eliminates it right there. Yeah, you can still find it in the other rooms, but it's to me, it's because of the convention attitude and then how they redesign these rooms. While there is a fun pool there,
it's also that pool is like in the back of the resort, way on the other side too.
And
so
I think that's also indicative of the fact that this isn't great for families. On a lot of the other resorts we've talked about, the main pool, the feature pool, is right there near the hub of activity. But no, this at Coronado Springs, you've got to take a hike around the lake to get to the pool. Now, once you get there, it's a really big pool and it's pretty cool theming wise, but it's a hike to get there. I'm with you, Craig, that it's a hit and a miss. I love Destino Tower. Grand Destino Tower is absolutely gorgeous. If you have to do some work on vacation, I know we don't want to have to do that, but sometimes we do. You are going to have plenty of space in that lobby, plenty of USB ports and outlets and workspace. It's clean and slick and sleek, and it's really nice. The other side of Coronado, I love aesthetically. As you walk into what used to be the old lobby, I love all the mosaic that they've done. I love the fountain that they have there. We used to go over to the Pepper Market and get dinner, which that was their counter service. Now it's El Mercado de Coronado. Still okay, but I really think, if kids are with you, it's you're going to have to hike and really search for the opportunities to connect with Disney magic while you're there, and so it's a little bit of both.
Well, let's bring it on over to the Port Orleans resorts here at Disney World. We're going to start with the French Quarter. What do you think, Fiasco? Oh, I'm sorry. I cut you out of the last one. Go ahead. Give me your feedback on that one. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm going to
give me that one, and then how about give me that one, and then go right into the French Quarter.
Yeah. So for Coronado Springs.
I know. I want to call it Grand Destino now, too. Yeah.
So it's also going to tilt on the hit or miss for me, too. As far as it would have been miss without Grand Destino Tower. But for that, I think the Grand Destino Tower is the closest you're going to get to deluxe in the moderate category. So, I mean, it's really awesome. But on the same token, it is always crazy there. And it is the number one resort that when I say, like, oh, where are you staying? They say, oh, we're going to stay at Coronado Springs. I'm like, do you know what Coronado Springs is? If you do, great. But if you don't, you probably should know that, like, it is crazy there because the convention center is always packed. Like we echoed on our last show about, they dump the middle and high school groups there. They're always there at Coronado Springs. So it's tilting on the hit or miss for me. So Port Orleans French Quarter.
Actually, you know what? Let's do both of these at once.
Okay.
Just tell me what you think. If you think that one's which one's the hit, which one's the miss for you, or if they're both hits or something, because they are basically sister resorts. I don't know how to describe it.
So, like, I like the theming at French Quarter a lot, but I don't like how there's no sit-down restaurant.
Yeah.
And I kind of, like, I'm okay with the theming at Riverside. I think it's fine enough, but the sit-down restaurant is, like, really bad. Boat Rights is really, really bad.
I've never eaten there because it's like notoriously.
Yeah, it's notoriously like, and Pete notoriously says it's the worst restaurant on property. I mean, it's close for me. It's pretty close for me. But also these two kind of hit or miss as well. Kind of tilting. There's pros and cons of both. The only thing that I'd really say is you can get rooms here really, really cheap. And if we were talking about like Art of Animation is more frequently in the moderate price point than Port Orleans is. Port Orleans is often in the value price points. So if you were to consider it like that, it would definitely be a hit for me. But looking at it with the rest of the moderates, it's more of a miss.
What do you think, Denny?
I love French Quarter. This is one of my very, very favorites. We've gotten the opportunity to stay there. We loved it. Sassagoula Floatworks and Food Factory is a counter service. We'll stop by
You can
on
get
an evening.
well, I don't know if you can as of this, but you can get that beignet burger over there, right? Yeah.
Yes, you can. And also they've done the new, the little Reno where they've made a little beignet cafe, which is really, I've been over there and my husband and I have enjoyed a beignet Sunday. It's really good. I love the size of it because it is so much smaller than the other resorts. It just has this homey feel to it. I personally love New Orleans, so it just plucks my heartstrings. I like it a lot. And great theming for the pool. And so, yeah, it's a hit for me.
What do you think? Well, what about Riverside?
Riverside. So never stayed there myself. I do like the theming. I did not enjoy the counter service as much as I enjoyed Sassagoula over at French Quarter. Mm-hmm. So I do love the wharf area. I love the fact that they'll take the horse-drawn carriage between the two resorts. That's super cool stuff. But for me, I just French Quarter is just a little bit of a notch above.
What do you think, Craig? Port Orleans.
Oh, I'm first off, I call Riverside Dixie Landing still, because that's what it was when I stayed there way back in the 90s.
Hashtag old school.
So exactly, yeah. So while we are combining them together, and they are both Port Orleans, I still am two very complete resorts, and they are thematically. It's an absolute hit for both of them. French Quarter is one of my favorites. It was my first Disney resort when we came on vacation, and I loved it back then as a kid. The King Triton slide and the entire pool area with all the gators, like those are some of the funnest, most fun. Sorry for my bad grammar. They're some of the most fun photo ops, I think, I still love them every time I go there and see it. I like that it's a cleaned up version of New Orleans. Nothing against New Orleans, but we all know that it's not the most sanitary place in the world, and in some places. And I feel like that's why Port Orleans French Quarter is so great, because it's that idealized version of New Orleans. And so, yeah, and then the food court's great. I love the bar in the lobby. Like there's so much good happening there. And then Riverside, it's also a huge hit for me. I love the two different sides to that resort. You can either stay deep back in the woods and you kind of feel like you're in the bayou, or if you're on the prestigious side, you can stay in the mansions. And the mansions have the princess themed rooms, which are hugely popular, and they're still really pretty. And I like the food court there. I love the entire design of it. I love the old wood feel. The mill. Like, it's just I have not eaten at Boat Rights, so I'm not throwing that in. I'm just leaving that out. It's always been a thing for me. So I don't care. Moderate resorts, I don't demand a sit down restaurant. I think they can still get away with just a good food court. So they're both hits for me.
Honestly, so for me, now that we've kind of talked about it a lot, I don't even know that a sit down restaurant is a requirement for a resort for me. I like there to be a bar at a resort that could serve food and also quick service.
And you don't, in my opinion, you don't need them at Port Orleans specifically because you have the water taxi at both hotels that will take you to Disney Springs, where you have all the dining you could ever possibly want.
And the water taxi is a cool amenity to the hotel. I do agree. I think I think I lean more toward Riverside because I like that that kind of like aesthetic, the aesthetic, like Craig said. I'm definitely drawn toward the bayou area of those rooms a little more. And I do love that old mill. There in the town next to where I grew up, there was this grist mill, and it was called the Jenny Grist Mill. And you go down, and it had a big wheel that I loved to just watch the water fall through it. And so it reminds me of like home in that aspect, even though it's a completely different part of the country it's supposed to be. But I think it's kind of one of those, like, I also like Port Orleans, the French Quarter, because I like that you can get king cake in the Sassagoula Waterworks area, and I think for me, I lean toward both of these being a hit. I know I'm not gonna I do love the Alligators. We're all playing in their band and stuff like that, and I like how the road is like, it has a sidewalk, but then it steps down into a street, so it gives it that feeling like you're walking through the streets of New Orleans. Only, like Craig said, a very sanitized version of that. But I am kind of like in the middle of those resorts. I'm not like, oh, I've got to stay here or anything like that, but I do enjoy both of them, so I'm going to put them on the hit. Now, the next one, the last one, the Cabins at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort, is my favorite resort on property, and the cabins are my favorite thing on property, I think. I love everything about Fort Wilderness. Like I said I've said many times, I love that you feel removed and you could have your own vacation there. There's tons of stuff to do. You can do archery. You can go, do the pony ride for the younger kids. You can the horses for the other kids. I don't know if they're still doing the rentals for the not a canoe. What's the word I'm looking for here? The kayak. You can do the bikes and stuff like that. My favorite things they do at Disney is the outdoor movie, and the fact that they have this like little theater with like 2 fire pits that you could roast marshmallows. I bring hot dogs, and and I do that, and I will probably get sick someday from it. But there's so many things for me to love. I really don't have a knock here. It is also kind of a sprawling resort is the only thing. Hoop-Dee-Doo is there, and that is one of my favorite like dining show experiences. There's a lot going for it. So for me, an absolute hit. And plus the cabin itself, I love that you have your own like little house. So it's plenty of space. You've got a porch. You can I feel like you can decompress there. But what do you think, Denny?
Well, and I think it's also an option for families who who are maybe bigger as far as in number than others. You get more space. You have your doors on your rooms. So if the kids just need time to themselves, and they can go and have a little time to themselves. I'm with you on Fort Wilderness. Yeah. I love it so much. Personally love Trails End, and so just having that as an option when staying there would be enough right there.
I forgot all about the stuff you can do at the beach too, with the waterworks and stuff. But what do you think, Craig?
I'm completely with you, Rhino. I would say that if I had any choice in what I would want to stay at, it would probably end up being the cabins at Fort Wilderness. Like, my ideal weekend would be just having a staycation there. I love that I can pull my car right up to the cabin door and have it there rather than park in a parking lot and then have to walk to
Bring
that
your
area.
In with you,
you have to get a golf cart, and there's nothing that's more fun than just driving in circles around the entire property area and having fun. And then
especially at Halloween.
Halloween and Christmas, and then, enjoying Hoop-de-Doo Review, probably my favorite Disney restaurant. Go there and drink a responsible amount, and then drive your golf cart around some more.
Dear.
I said responsibly. Responsible amounts in there. And so I'm preaching responsibility right now on there, but and then you mentioned all the amenities, the fire pit, the food truck that shows up at the movies at the night, the fact that you have boat transportation to Magic Kingdom. This resort is so special. I genuinely could not imagine Walt Disney World without it. And it's like been there since the beginning.
Yeah.
So
it's just this gem nestled in the woods, What do you think, Fiasco? Are you going to tear it apart?
No, this is definitely a huge hit. So for the cabins, a lot of times they can tilt on a higher price point, kind of flirting closer towards deluxe. However, I'm looking right now at some of the deals you can get for the Sun and Fun room offer this summer. And there are some really good deals on the cabins, like $300 a night this summer, July, August. Of course, a Dreams agent can help you out with all that. But could you find a deluxe studio around that price? Maybe, but that's a studio. These cabins are going to sleep a lot more people for a larger group, a larger family. And then obviously everybody talked about how wonderful the grounds are. So this would be a big hit for me. And I would definitely, if you're thinking about this summer, this would be a huge thing I would consider if you're a larger group. So,
well, let's go over to www.info.com and check out what the reviews have rated this as, rated all these resorts as, percentage-wise of positivity. We are going to start at the lowest. So Disney's Port Orleans Resort Riverside is 85% positive. Next on the list, we have Disney's Coronado Springs, which has 87% positive reviews. Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort has 88%. Port Orleans French Quarter has 91%, and the cabins at Fort Wilderness are coming in at 91%.
Wow.
Nice.
They very well should be. So there you have it. We hope that this episode could help you in planning a better Disney vacation. Thank you. I said these out of order. I apologize. If you want to see any of these resorts, if you're not familiar with them or it's been a while for you, please be sure to check out our other YouTube channel, the DIS. It's youtube.com/www.info. And there's some overview videos on there. You can check out some reviews of the dining and stuff that we spoke about as well. And then be sure, if you have stayed at these resorts, to check out that resort review tool, which you will find in the show notes, and give us your feedback on what you think is a hit or miss for you, because then that helps other people. And like I said just a moment ago, we hope this episode helped you in planning a better Disney vacation. And if you need any additional help in booking your Disney vacation, remember the experts at Dreams Unlimited Travel are always there to help you. Thank you, everybody, for listening, watching. Thank you, everybody, for having this conversation with me. And we will see you next time with another episode of The Best and Worst of Walt Disney World.